Guess what time it is? It's time for Maniac Math with Mrs. Carell. Make sure you have your My Video Notes page and a pencil, and we'll get started. First of all, at the top of your page where it says title of video, you need to write Division 1A. Make sure you get that letter A on there. You can abbreviate Division DIV period number 1A. Right below that where it says important term or definition, you need to write division is splitting things into equal groups. When you get that done, come on back and we'll get started. The important thing with any math problem is figuring out what it is they want you to figure out. If you go and look for the question mark in any problem, you'll find out exactly what they're looking for. In this one, you can see the question mark right here. So let's read the question first, then we'll go back and read the problem. How many apples will each child get? You can see we have a bunch of apples here. I guess these smiley faces must be the kids. How many apples will each child get? We're going to underline that. And remember, you do not have to write this stuff down because it's not in the green box. You just need to write down what is in the green box. We're going to do our workout here, and then we'll do the problem inside here. All right, let's go back and read the problem. Mrs. Carell has 20 apples. Okay, I can see some apples down here. She wants each of her 5 children to have an equal amount of apples. So remember, division is splitting things into equal groups. Equal amount of apples for each kid. Well, you can see here, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 kids. And I've already split up the apples. So let's see, how many apples did each child get? Well, each kid got 4 apples. 1, 2, 3, 4 for this kid, 4 for this kid, 4 for this kid, and so on. Every kid got 4 apples. So if we take a close look at the words in the problem, we see the word each in there a couple of times. Did not mean to move that. So if we see the word each, that's probably a pretty good clue that we might need to divide. Also, we see equal amount. Each kid, equal amounts. So that's probably a pretty good clue that we need to divide. So, what are we splitting up though? Are we splitting up kids or are we splitting up apples? Well, we're splitting up the apples. It says right here, how many apples will each child get? So we're splitting up 20 apples. Whatever we're splitting up is what goes inside the saloon. Whatever is going to be given out to the individuals, in this case they happen to be kids, goes outside the saloon. So you can see right here, I can actually draw my division symbol, not very well, but I drew my division symbol just like that. I have 20 apples that I'm splitting up amongst 5 kids. So how do we solve this problem right here? There's lots of ways of going about it, and you will often hear people say, how many groups of 5 can I get out of 20? Well, look right here. Here's a group of 5, here's a group of 5, and here's a group of 5. 5 apples. Ooh, I'm not drawing well today, am I? 5 apples. Here's another group of 5 apples. How many groups of 5 apples do we have? We have 4 groups of 5 apples. 1, 2, 3, 4. So there are 4 groups of 5 apples. Another way you can think about it is 5 times something equals the 20 inside. This is the something, and we figured it out just like this. So our answer is 4. 5 times 4 equals 20. All right, let's try the next problem. All right, so here's our problem. Mrs. Carell has 24 peanuts. She wants to give each of her 3 elephants an equal amount of peanuts. How many peanuts will each elephant get? Well, where's our question? Right at the end. How many peanuts will each elephant get? Did you see any keywords in there? I did. We have the word each. We have equal amounts. And we have that word each again. Let's think about this for a minute. What are we splitting up? Are we splitting up the elephants or are we splitting up peanuts? We're splitting up the peanuts. So how's that going to work? Since we're splitting up peanuts and we know that the elephants are the ones getting the peanuts, I went ahead and put my 3 elephants right over here. That's who's getting the peanuts, is the 3 elephants. So we draw our saloon over here and we put the 3 elephants outside. They're the ones that are going to get the peanuts. So you can see that I have my 3 elephants that are getting the peanuts outside. And I went ahead and I gave each elephant the same amount of peanuts. So let's see, I've got 3 elephants. How many peanuts did each one of them get? Well, each one got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And if you look at it this way, there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 groups of 3 peanuts. Here's a group of 3 peanuts, and I could go through and circle all the groups of 3 peanuts. But think about it. There's 8 for each one. And we were splitting up 24 peanuts. Each elephant got 8. How do we make that into something a little easier? Because most people find multiplication is easier than division. We're going to say 3 times something equals 24 peanuts that we're splitting up. Well, we know that that something was 8. Remember, multiply the outside numbers to get the inside. Multiply the outsides to get the inside. Let's give the next one a try. What's the question in this one? If she wants to make sure each squirrel gets the same amount of walnuts. Oh, here it is. How many walnuts will each squirrel get? How many walnuts will each squirrel get? Now let's go back and read the rest of the problem. Mrs. Corral has 45 walnuts to give to the 9 squirrels that live in her backyard. If she wants to make sure each squirrel gets the same amount of walnuts, how many walnuts will each squirrel get? All right, I want you to think about it for a minute. What is it that we are splitting up? Are we splitting up squirrels or are we splitting up walnuts? If you said walnuts, you are correct. So we are splitting up walnuts. Now, how many walnuts are there to be split up? 45 walnuts. So we're going to put the 45 things that we're splitting up or dividing in here. Now, what are we splitting it up amongst? Well, who's getting the walnuts? The squirrels are. How many squirrels? 9 squirrels. They go outside the saloon right here, just like this. Now, how many walnuts is each squirrel going to get? Well, if you remember to multiply the outsides to get the inside, we're going to say 9 times something equals 45. 9 times something equals 45. What is that something? Hey, were you able to figure it out? How many walnuts will each squirrel get? Each squirrel will get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 walnuts. 9 times 5 is 45. And if you look over here, I've taken all 45 of those walnuts and I've arranged them in front of each squirrel. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 groups of walnuts for each squirrel. So there would be 5 up here. All right, let's do one more before I set you loose on your own. All right, still on Mrs. Corral's farm, there are 36 horses and 3 barns. If Mrs. Corral wants to split the horses up evenly in the barns, how many horses will be in each barn? So, what is the question? How many horses in each barn? Okay, we're splitting up the horses evenly, splitting things up evenly. Those are some key words we're looking for. What are we splitting up though? Are we splitting up barns or are we splitting up horses? We're splitting up horses. Split the horses up. It says that right here. How many horses? 36 horses. So here's our saloon. Whatever we split up, we put inside the saloon. We're splitting up 36 horses. Now, what are we splitting them up amongst? We're splitting them among the 3 barns. So 3 barns out here. Now, I want you to pause the video for a second and see if you can come up with the multiplication problem that goes with this. When you think you've got it, come on back and we'll see how you did. All right, if you're back, how did you come up with a multiplication problem to help you figure out the division problem? Did you say 3 times something equals 36? If you did, great. If not, let's take a look at it. We have 36 horses and only 3 barns. How is that going to look? How many groups will we get? Right. So if you figured out that 3 times 12 is 36, then you figured out the answer to this problem. Each barn will have 3 horses in it. 3 times 12 is 36. And you can look over here, I took all 36 of our horses and I started putting them into the barns and I got a total of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 sets of horses in each barn. 12 horses in each barn. Okay, now I'm going to set you loose and let you give it a shot and see if you can figure out the next one. Mrs. Carell loves to feed the crows. There are 7 bird feeders in her yard. If 35 crows share the feeders equally, how many crows will be at each one? Think about it now. What are we splitting up? And what are they being split up amongst? Remember, whatever you're splitting up, you need to put inside the saloon. And don't forget your multiplication problem. All right, give that one a try, and then we'll go on to the next one. On Mrs. Carell's farm, there are 3 alpacas. They look like llamas. If each alpaca has to get the same amount of hay to eat, and there are 12 bales of hay, how many bales of hay does each alpaca get? Think about what we're splitting up and what we're splitting it up amongst. All right, give this one a shot on your own. You got this.